Well, hello there, awesome students, and welcome. I thought I would do a quick little breakout session and talk about some things related to referencing because a number of students just seem to have a little bit of a disconnect. And I did a little thinking, a little processing on this. I had a little bit of an epiphany, and it occurred to me, in addition to not really understanding how references and research works and how you're supposed to use that, and then this formatting thing and how does that work, that the type of research that many students are relying on is not very good research to start with. So I want to help give you a little crash course, kind of like grab you, shake you, and hopefully get you on the right track in terms of referencing. And at least point it in the direction that might help benefit you and ultimately make things easier, because a lot of the things that I think students are doing is not as easy, it's not correct, and it's not as easy as doing it the correct way, if that makes any sense. I think students are working harder, getting less points when it could be easier and more points. How's that? All right, so let's help to get you on track. So first, I am on the university, the Shapiro Library homepage, not actually the homepage. I think I have that a couple of tabs down. But when you're inside the course, if you go up here and you just click on citing sources, you're going to end up on a page like this. And if you're not familiar with this page, then that is probably one of the first challenges that you might have in terms of understanding how to use research or referencing and citing and things of that nature. We are using APA style. APA stands for the American Psychological Association. APA is probably between APA and MLA. These are the two most common writing styles that are used in universities. Business programs often use more of an MLA style. Social science programs typically use more of an APA style. So Chicago, I think, is used more by language arts and things of that nature. But a lot of institutions will have one standard that they use for the entire institution, or they might have two or three standards. We do here, depending on the program. All of you guys are going to be in the APA style range. And so anytime you're looking for some information on APA formatting, or formatting in general rather, make sure you're looking at APA style. If you have not looked at or read through or spent any time in the APA manual, you should absolutely do this, or at least go through some of the resources on here so that you can get familiar and comfortable with this writing style. Okay, so that's number one. So I want to make sure that every student is on track with that first and foremost, because I think a lot of students just don't have a clear understanding. Then they're not accessing the resources that would help them. Plus, they're utilizing some research that's not very good, and they've already come to the party with a lot of bad habits. And so again, just get you on track. Make sure you're reading these materials, because quite honestly, referencing, formatting, the style is the absolute easiest part of your submission. If you ever lose points in terms of style, formatting, referencing, you just gave away free money. That's the way I look at it, because it's the easiest part of your submission. It's like a 2-minute thing, and it could be perfect, but students often don't spend the time learning how to develop those skills, and there's software that can help you as well. So start off by that, learning some of the basics. Now, the next thing that really just was like a revelation that hit me, and I see this over and over again in the submissions, is the quality of research that students are using is not very good. And that type of research that students are relying on does not model appropriate behaviors. Now, this is interesting, is you're all psychology students, so hear me out. I'm teaching another class where actually these are all nursing students. It's a lifespan development class, and we're talking about children, and we're talking about modeling appropriate behaviors. And it occurred to me that as I went through my program and I was utilizing good research, that quality research modeled a writing style that I should be utilizing. Okay, I want you all to hear this, because the vast majority of students are relying on research that does not model a writing style that you should master. Okay, so I want you to really, really hear this. You're using a writing example over and over again that's averse to how you should be writing. Okay? So utilize better research, and that will help you to get on track. And what happens is, as students get on this mindset that when they're going to, quote, research for a paper, I put in here stress management tips for students, they come to Google and they go down here, and usually what happens is students will come in here and go, oh, look, in the first couple, 2 or 3 articles, there is some stuff in here in terms of stress management for students. And they end up on an article such as this: Top 10 Stress Management Tips for Students, Techniques for Students. And they go through here, and there's a lot of great information, okay? And we've got, oh, here's some references in here. Well, they're referencing other articles, okay? These are just called backlinks. And they're referencing and cross-checking with other articles within their website. And their focus here is to create more clicks. Their focus here is to get you to spend more time on this website. Now, certainly this is, in the world of digital media, this is one way that people will reference additional materials, but it's not the way that you should be referencing materials. So you can come in here and you can read through this and get some good general information, but this article is not helping you or not serving you if you're writing in this format. And I'm not saying you're not going to always write in a serious format, or, you might have some times where things are a little bit more casual, but here's some things to pay attention to. This is a contributing author from Verywell Health. Her name is Kendra Cherry. Some of you may recognize this name, and I bring her up because she writes about psychology and mental health on a regular basis. By the way, Miss Cherry has a master's degree in education, not in a mental health field, but in education, and she is a blogger. I bring this up because this is an author that is referenced by students on a regular basis. She's a very good blogger, but as I mentioned earlier, a lot of her articles are written in a format or in a style that's not exactly what you should be using as a model, okay? Because you're coming in here and reading this information and then saying, oh, well, this is how I should write my article. I want you to start thinking in terms of writing your article in more of a scientific way, or more of a social science way, where we're going to present some information and reference the information back. Where's the source? Where did the information come from? The way that you do this, the key to all of this, is starting with something better. Now imagine this. If you've got a pile of crap, and that's what you're starting with, you can dress it up a little bit, but in the end, it's still going to be a pile of crap, right? I'm just being blunt. But if you start with something really good and now you're dressing it up, you're going to have something better, okay? So I want you to think that way when you're looking at research. When you come in here to the library and you do a literature search, and I searched in here student stress reduction, I got a number of articles. A number of these are lit reviews, different studies, different things, but they're typically published in journals, okay? You can look through here. There's a number of great articles in here, and I happen to find something entitled The Impact of Short-Term Adventure-Based Outdoor Programs on College Students' Stress Reduction. Here's where a big problem is. Students get an assignment to, say, write something about anxiety and student success. So they do an internet search that gives them something like this, and it has 10 tips, and they can write a blog post or they can write an article like that, right? Because all the information has been summarized, it's been analyzed, it's been compressed. And this is why we call it a tertiary article, because it's just a mishmash of a bunch of different information and ideas, and maybe some of it's legit, maybe some of it's not. But when we look at an article like this, this is a study that has been done. And I actually, you could see linked to the full article here. I have the whole article right here. So this was published in the Journal of Adventure Education and Online Outdoor Learning. This is a fantastic journal, by the way. This focuses on ropes course and outdoor type of things like this. But you can see in this article a few things to take note in here. Valid and reliable information, research, data you're going to see online in most every case will have a year, so you're not going to have NDs next to it, and in most every case will have identified authors with it, okay? So if you're using research that doesn't have a year attached to it, doesn't have an author, and you're scratching your head and you're not sure how to reference it, it's probably not an article that you should be utilizing anyway. The abstract here will give you a little summary. As you're searching for research, a lot of times you can see a little excerpt. I don't think we have it in this view, but sometimes you can see a little excerpt on this page, but you can read little abstracts and it'll give you an idea of what the study is about. And that's going to help you determine if it's something that you want to utilize or not. But here's the thing that I really want to stress with students. It's the modeling, okay? Because when I read this article, listen, college students can be exposed to numerous types of stress that can often be intense and challenging. Where did that information came from? It came from Ewert and Yoshino, 2011. Let's see if we go. Ewert and Yoshino, 2011. Okay, so here's the article. The influence of short-term adventure-based experiences on levels of resilience, yada, yada, yada. Now, here's something else that I want to point out to you guys. Tip, ding, 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 bell, bell, bell. Ewert and Shino was referenced in the very first sentence of this article. And when I look at the references, look, Ewert has been involved in at least three other articles, 4, counting the one we're looking at, related to our particular topic. Okay, so not only did we start with better research, but we were just given a gift of 3 additional articles that we might read to find some additional information related to our topic. So one of the things to keep in mind, to get to this type of article, you just need to be more specific. Instead of starting very general, well, how do we reduce stress in students, be very specific. Maybe you start general, find a couple of tips or ideas and say, what's up with this adventure stuff? Now you're going to go a little more specific. Let me read a little bit further. Collegiate stressors can have a variety of sources, including interpersonal, intrapersonal, academic, and environmental events. Where did that come from? Ross, Steinberg, Heckert, etc. According to the National College of Health Assessment, etc. Okay, you could see in this article, it is referenced. Okay, look at this is dual reference right here. That means 2 sources said roughly the same thing. Okay? If you're utilizing research like this and you are reading this type of information on a regular basis and it's going into your brain, by the way, over time, your brain will read right through this stuff. You won't even see it. It's going to be a little like in the way at first, but after a while, when I read this stuff, I just read right through it. But it's also going to show you, like students like, well, give me an example. Here is a solid example. So if you're utilizing the research that you should be using anyway, you're going to have solid examples of how you should be writing 100% of the time. Start with the good research. We got good examples. Now our written product becomes better and better over time. So focus on using this type of research. Now, one more thing that I really want to stress and drive home to you all. Adding resources is not just about putting a bunch of sources on a reference page. When we look at this article right here, references, you can see there are a large number of references here. This doesn't mean that these researchers went online and found a little quote or a little snippet here and there and just pieced it all together in one article. No, they started exactly how I shared with you to start. We did a little bit of research and we found out some stress management tips for students. Okay, well, here's good ideas. And I'm going to look over in the journal database here. Okay, and I'm going to do a search on some stress management tips, and I'm going to read through and find an article or 2 that piques my interest, something that interests me, right? And I came across this one. Wow, this is really cool. The impact of short-term adventure-based outdoor programs, okay? And I read this abstract. that talked about no significant difference in college student stress levels were found between sex and different outdoor adventure types. Oh, I'm sorry, I read too far. Findings suggest that short-term affords opportunities for college students to be away from daily challenges and in turn reduce college students' psychological stress. Phenomenal. I was like, wow, this is really cool, an out-of-the-box thing. I want to learn more about this. So then I pulled up this individual article. And in reading this article, I can find all kinds of super cool information that will help me to write, 250, 500 words, 1,000 words on just about anything. Not only that, but when I go to the references, there is a virtual plethora of high quality research articles that are specific to the topic that I am now writing about. So gang, if I was writing something now, I would read this entire article. That's how this works. Read this entire article, make some notes in the margin, highlight some things that you like and see, and use this information to write your post, answer the question, write your paper, whatever you're doing. Now, it's probably not going to be reliant on one particular article, although this is a pretty extensive article. But as you're writing, as you're reading, you're going to obviously see other researchers who have said great things. You go pull their articles, or you're going to have some thoughts or some questions or some insights on your own. And a lot of times, you get a milestone, for example, there might be 3-4 questions there. So you've answered one question, and now you're going to look for 1 or 2 articles that helps you to answer the next question, and so on. But again, start with good research. You will then have something good to work with that models the types of things that you want to do in your writing, and you'll have something better that comes out at the end. Okay, so I hope this helps to get you on track. Now, one last thing that I want to stress to you all is there's opportunity for you to work with writing coaches and the writing lab and things of that nature. And so if you're serious about developing your writing skills, make sure you're reading the manual, make sure you're accessing the coaches, and make sure you're doing these types of things to get you on track. Here's a couple of things that I can absolutely share with you. When I started my program, and my program, by the way, was a writing intensive program. I had to write a paper like pretty much every week, sometimes 2 papers a week in every single class. The only class that I didn't have papers due in was the my statistics class. We had to do a lot of math, but no papers. And I had an IT class, project management class in my undergrad program that we had to do a lot of stuff in project management. Those literally were the only 2 classes. Stats was 2 classes. So 3 classes that I didn't write papers in out of, 40 classes that you have in an undergrad program. So I share this with you because I wrote a ton of papers, and in the beginning I was not very good at it, and I utilized exactly what I'm sharing with you. I mastered the formatting, so I never ever lost points on that, and then I utilized the writing lab in addition to some quality research, and over time it just became second nature to me to write in this format. So here's some great tips for you guys to get on track. Make sure you're using good research. So I hope this video helped. Please reach out if you have some questions. I look forward to seeing your submissions, hopefully after you've implemented these tips. Take care.